This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Whatever team Fee is on has a chance to win a championship.
I'm Christina Williams, host of the podcast, In Case You Missed It with Christina Williams. The WNBA playoffs are here, and I've got the inside scoop on everything from key matchups and standout players to the behind-the-scenes moments you won't find anywhere else.
It's really, really hard to be the champions, but we have to remember how it feels and embrace the new challenge that we have.
So listen to In Case You Missed It with Christina Williams, an iHeart Women's Sports production in partnership with Deep Blue Sports and Entertainment on iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Gear up for a hilarious night when Dane Cook returns to the Island Event Center. See his legendary style of stand-up comedy live at Treasure Island Friday, October 24th. All the details now, TICasino.com.
The scribe has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. Ben Goessling, with no trepidation, has entered the House of Pain. And we welcome him to the TCO radio studio, courtesy of Standard Heating and Air. Before we chat with said fearless scribe, we have a request. It involves the talkbacks and head coach Kevin O'Connell 1 hour from now. Let's go to Talkback Central, and here is the con.
Yeah, thanks for all the talkbacks during the first hour. But we are, as we do weekly when we have the coach here, we do a talkback specifically from you. We play it for the coach. So free iHeartRadio app, hit that microphone, give us up to your best 30 seconds. Ask a question for the coach, and please use your name and where you are from as part of that talkback. So please do that on the iHeartRadio app.
Ben Goessling at Ben Goessling via X. He is an Apple Valley High School distance running coach by day and scribe by day and night for the Star Tribune. And Ben has entered the House of Pain. Ben and Emily did an Emergency Access Vikings YouTube pod yesterday from the House of Pain following Kevin O'Connell's press conference. J.J. McCarthy was the subject du jour. So let's unpack. First, good morning.
Good morning.
Your response to those claiming this is performance related, and he may have a banged up ankle a little bit, but you know what? There are those suggesting, which would basically be calling people bald-faced liars, that the ankle situation is not that bad. He's going to sit back for a little while so he can, sit back and watch Carson Wentz do it. What's your response to that?
That is not the case.
Thank you.
He is injured. That question came up yesterday, and Kevin O'Connell addressed it. It's one of those things that the timing of it certainly looks convenient for such things, but checking on it a little bit more yesterday, I was pretty vehemently told that is not the case. He is injured. If you go back and watch the play, you can see where he gets taken down.
Yep.
I understand where the conspiracy theories pop up, but no, I don't believe that one.
Unpacking Access Vikings via the Star Tribune's YouTube page. Subscribe if you are so inclined. Ben and Emily did an Emergency Access Vikings yesterday, and they did it from the House of Pain. The second part, On the podcast, you said, quote, "This is not good," talking about McCarthy. "This is not good," end quote. Why?
Well, I think the timing of the injury is not helpful because they need to get him snaps. And I think the timing of how long he could be out, it could be 2, 3, 4 weeks here, but the missed time, I think, is difficult to come back from when he's already missed last year. He's missed time with Justin Jefferson just because of Justin Jefferson's own injuries. You've had offensive line changes, all of those kinds of things. He needs time in the seat to get used to the job, especially given, some of the things in college where he's not playing in an offense that leaned on him as much as some of the other quarterbacks that you saw. So they need to get him the developmental time, and it also comes as part of a team that is built to win right now. So I think all of those factors coming together, the long term, the short term, it's not helpful for anybody to have it go this way.
The third part of the unpacking of the layers, J.J. McCarthy threw 2 games. Your thoughts?
Well, it hasn't been. He's looked young, I guess would be the way I would put it. He's looked like he's pretty new at all of this and has looked new in terms of, I think, the protection in front of him has not been good, and it's not all on him. There's been a lot of changes on the offensive line. There's been a lot of people on the offensive line that haven't played very well, I don't think. But his timing on things in terms of when he gets to throws, we've seen some issues there. The interception, again, was kind of to the inside of the receiving target. It's similar to what we saw with Justin Jefferson. And Justin Jefferson said last week that pick was on him. We haven't dissected the Jalen Naylor target for the interception quite to that degree, but it was a similar throw. It's inside of the receiver. So you've seen him miss his targets in a few spots, overshot Naylor on the long one. I think there have been times where he could probably hang in the pocket a tick or two longer, and he's bailed out, and you have to think about that now, too. If he's coming back from that, how much are you telling him, hey, you got to protect yourself a little more when you do get out and run? So I think it's been a slog through 2 games, no doubt about it, but things have not gone well around him either, and I think you're just not at a point yet where you're going to have a quarterback at this stage that's able to overcome all of those things. I mean, that's what you want from elite level quarterbacks. I just don't think you're going to expect a guy in his second NFL start to be at that level yet.
I got to ask you this so I don't forget off something you said about, the interception and the inside of Jefferson and, Jefferson culpability, lack thereof, or whatever. And it involves the Chicago Bears. And it's something I heard Ben Johnson, coach of the Bears, say Friday. And I just want to get your equity-based opinion on how this generally goes. Go back to the Vikings game, and it was late, and Caleb Williams, he caught fire in certain areas, but then there were guys like Cole Kmet wide open middle of the field. Yeah. Now, he caught it with one hand. DJ Moore wide open down by the end zone. And Williams misfires on the wide open guy.
Yeah.
And Ben Johnson was asked about that play, and he came out and said, well, DJ ran the wrong route.
Yeah.
Okay, now that is your best skill position guy. So there are 1 of 2 ways to look at it. If I'm Roma Dunze or if I'm Olamide Zacchaeus, and I'm like, whoa, he just publicly undressed a little bit the best skill guy we have. Well, what's he going to say about me? If I make a mistake, I better be on point. Well, then the subsequent result was, as part of the totality of the team, they gave up 52 and got blown out by the Lions. Moore, I didn't watch it closely enough to be like he wasn't engaged, but you got to be careful with things like that, don't you think?
You do, and every coach is going to handle it a little bit different. Every receiver, every player is going to handle it differently. I think Mike Zimmer, certainly had a lot of those times where he had players, he would say things about players and players didn't like it. That's not been Kevin O'Connell's style.
Right.
I think the fact that Justin Jefferson was as forthright as he was about it, I'm assuming they had conversations throughout the week where Jefferson had probably said the same thing to Kevin O'Connell about, hey, that's on me. Probably said it to J.J. McCarthy that, hey, that's on me as well. But I think there is that line to walk in terms of how much you say how explicit you get with it. And O'Connell will hint at some things. I thought he did it after the game on Sunday night, talking about some errors in protection and talking about, a guy having a clean sheet and then making a catastrophic error. It's not that hard to figure out where that's going, but he's not going to say it in a way that is going to create the soundbite quite in the fashion that Mike Zimmer might have done it, or maybe that Ben Johnson's going to do it. And different coaches have different strategies on that, and you see, I think sometimes it depends on the player, depends on the situation too. There's a lot of calculations that go into those things because everything does become a soundbite pretty quickly after you say it.
As people are hitting you with all sorts of questions, specifically after we hear that McCarthy's going to be out here for a spell, how many times have you been hit with, well, the kid needs snaps, the second-year kid needs snaps, he played one drive in the preseason. And so, we can't go back and change this. We also have the grand benefit of hindsight. But I've been overwhelmed. The text machine, 64686, Bradshaw and Bryant text line has just been inundated with well, see, why did he only play one drive the entire preseason? Yeah. Why didn't he get more reps if he needs as many snaps as humanly possible? I've just seen a ton of that over the last 24 hours. Again, the advantage of hindsight goes a long way down the road with this. It's interesting now that we have this injury on our plate that's where people are gravitating towards.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's kind of human nature that people go for why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? And if he would have gotten hurt, it would have been, well, why did you burn him in a preseason game? I mean, it goes that way. I get it. I think the way I tend to look at it is the approach of this coaching regime has not been to use the preseason game action a lot because they want to safeguard against injuries as much as possible, and they believe that the joint practices can accomplish many of the things you'll get in a preseason game without as much of the injury risk. You can debate that. You can debate whether the joint practices are a one-for-one replacement for preseason games, but they've been consistent enough on that I don't think it's going to be a surprise at this point to see them do what they did. And generally, I think they've gone into seasons with pretty good health. You haven't seen them suffer the sort of, hey, this guy's lost for the season in the preseason game thing. And not that I can think of. I mean, you can think of times around the league that happens every year, and it's like, yeah, this is why you don't do it. But, yeah, I mean, I think you lose some things when you don't have the game reps because they're not quite as, even if they're not quite regular season reps, they're probably a little more intense than you'd get in a practice. But then you're trying to do that cost-benefit thing of, is the gain we're getting from this worth enough that we have the risk of playing a guy more and exposing him to injury? And I think the pretty consistent calculation from this group has been, no, it's not worth it.
The first two games, and I'm glad you mentioned it specifically, JJ has made mistakes. He has been imperfect. He looks like a guy that's playing in his first and second career game. So productive from an aura standpoint, productive from managing the huddle and managing the emotions of it. We saw an elite fourth quarter one game. We saw a sack fumble and a second pick in the second game. But in terms of if you're the head coach and maybe even if you're JJ, do you feel in some ways that the opportunity for productivity and really getting a solid grasp of what this kid has in him and what he can do has really been stolen by an offensive line, frankly, that and it stinks because the rookie has a great game in left guard. He gives up that sack. I think it was James Pierce who loops around in the second game. Brian O'Neill, frankly, I don't think has looked very good at all through two games. I would agree with that. Fries is just okay. Kelly has a toe and now a concussion, sadly. And Justin School, I was maybe too tough on him after the first game. I think he's been dreadful. And Walter Rouse now getting. So it's one of those things where, you want to hit on those issues that the kid has, but he also hasn't actually been able to play with that roster you noted that on paper is ready to win now.
Yeah, and a lot of the ready to win now calculation did come from the investments they made on the offensive line. I mean, we saw their season end last January with Sam Darnold getting sacked 9 times and Kevin O'Connell saying we need to upgrade the interior offensive line, and they did that with a lot of money. That group to this point, I mean, you're talking about Ryan Kelly possibly not playing on Sunday. I did not think Will Fries was very good in that game.
I agree.
There were some moments where it just seemed like spacing on blocking assignments was a little bit off, or even passing things off, and pass protection was a struggle. And Donovan Jackson had the one. Overall, I thought, watching it back, I thought he played fairly well. But
I actually, this sounds preposterous. I think he has been the most consistent O-lineman through 2 games. The Ohio State
case
rookie.
to make for that. Yeah, I would agree with that. And you have a lot of that group that has played better than this throughout its NFL career, but you need them to be better now. And the whole purpose of constructing this offense the way they did, from paying for Will Fries, from getting rid of Garrett Bradbury and bringing in Ryan Kelly, was to say, let's put as many kind of known quantities around J.J. McCarthy as possible, where he doesn't have to look at, hey, I have a offensive lineman who's brand new, and I have to figure out if I'm getting him set in the right spot. And there's less you have to put on the quarterback's plate when you have guys that have done it and know their way around the NFL. I think that was the whole point of them structuring this the way they have. The fact that that group has not been better through 2 weeks has, I think, made things a lot harder. He's dealing with pressure. You deal with more situations where it's playing behind the sticks if a run didn't hit, or you take a sack and you're trying to fight out of it. All of those things make it harder to play the position. And I think that group has, there's drops from receivers too, and different things, but the group as a whole has probably not held up its end of the bargain quite to the degree that they would want. And that's, I think, where you've seen a little bit of, even if O'Connell's not going to go out and rip somebody at the podium, you could see where there's a little bit of agitation in his voice.
Yeah, like
or
last
hear
Friday.
It. Yeah. There's some things where he'll say it after games. I heard a little bit of it, I think, Sunday night as well, where you can tell something is bothering him quite a bit when there's just a little more of a peaked nature to his voice in a press conference. And
it's the most adversity he's faced as head coach.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean, in 2023, you could make that argument when you have all the quarterback switches in the middle of the season, but for it to hit this early
with the big debut of
the injuries, all that kind of stuff, it's a lot to manage.
Ben Goessling, Star Tribune, StarTribune.com, Standard Heating and Air. Great to have him each and every Tuesday. O'Connell, indeed, is here at 11 o'clock, and I guess I'll ask him this question in a different way. But I haven't seen Carson Wentz play in a few years.
Yeah.
What do you know about how he plays?
Well, I think when you go back to his peak, it was all the RPO stuff. He plays, I think, with quite a bit of mobility. He's able to run around quite a bit. And I think that was the play, if I remember right, that he was diving near the end zone against the Rams. I remember watching that play in the Bank of America Stadium press box.
LA Coliseum.
Yes. They were playing the Rams in the late afternoon game that I think the Vikings had just lost to the Panthers. In the noon game, it was early December that year. But Wentz is somebody that has some mobility, has shown it throughout his career. I think the thing with him has been, can you get him to play a little more restrained within the system? I think some of the things that happened with him in Philadelphia were on the basis of, hey, you're playing probably a little too much gunslinger football, and I'm sure there's going to be some discussions of that and how you structure the offense around him as he goes through it here. But, we've seen that with different quarterbacks. I think there was some of that with Sam Darnold, where they had to refine things or at least figure out the right way to use it. So I think it's going to be a bit of a scramble here to get him ready, but we've seen them do that before, certainly a couple of years ago, speaking of 2023, when they get Josh Dobbs ready, despite the fact that he didn't know the cadence going into the game, and you figure out a way to get through that. That's not ideal, but they have done things like this before, and I know before he came to Minnesota, Kevin O'Connell had been involved in a few of these cram sessions with starting quarterbacks. I don't know that this one is as dire as some of the things they've seen, but when you're needing Wentz to kind of take command of the offense here, you have to get things a little more efficient pretty quickly.
Wentz never has had a season where he threw more interceptions than touchdowns. I mean, he got close as a rookie in 2016, 16, and 14, and he started 16 games that year.
Yeah.
But
the Vikings, their first loss that year, I believe.
Right. I do think it is a little far back to really make it a giant reference point, like when he played with Indianapolis with Kelly and Fries.
Yeah.
All right. So, whether Kelly plays or not this weekend, They were battery mates in 2021.
Yeah.
And Carson went 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, threw for nearly 3,600 yards. Yards per attempt was pretty good, around 7. So then after that with Washington, he started 7, 1 for McVay, 1 for Andy Reid. That was the last time he started a full season.
Yeah.
Is that too far back to make a reference point, do you think?
Well, I mean, it's getting to be a little ways, and you start to ask, okay, if he was good enough in Indianapolis, I mean, the numbers, I looked at that last night, the numbers were pretty good in Indianapolis. Why did they move on from him after a year? I think they traded to Washington after that year, and there's been a lot of questions with him over the course of his career about, how easy is he to coach? How does he respond to kind of constructive criticism? I think a lot of those things, when it was Philadelphia, when it was Indianapolis, you heard some of those things coming out of those places after he left, and it's always easy to say that after the fact, but I'm going to be interested to see how they work through this with him, because I think you're talking about at least a couple of weeks where he's the starter. It's Josh McCown was his backup in Philadelphia his last year there. So in addition to familiarity with a Kevin O'Connell style system, there's familiarity with the guy that's coaching him every day because they've been in a room together. I think how this partnership comes together is going to be pretty fascinating to watch.
Ben Goessling, the Scribe, weekly 9 to noon, courtesy of Standard Heating and Air. Follow him via X if you are so inclined, at Ben Goessling. And when we return, Jordan Mason into Xavier Scott. Is that the 1-2 punch Sunday at the running back position? And we will have him ride his gift of discernment via the House of Pain, involving Andrew Van Ginkel, Ryan Kelly, Christian Darrisaw, and Harry the Hitman. We'll be right back.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Would you guys consider anything less than a championship to be a failure from this year?
I wouldn't say anything is a failure, especially because we all grow every day. Obviously, the goal is a championship. There's no doubt in that, and that's the goal. We want to win a championship.
I'm Christina Williams, host of the podcast, In Case You Missed It with Christina Williams. The WNBA playoffs are here, and I've got the inside scoop on everything from key matchups and standout players to the behind-the-scenes moments you won't find anywhere else.
It's really, really hard to be the champions, but we have to remember how it feels and embrace the new challenge that we have.
For all the biggest stories in women's basketball, plus exclusive interviews with the game's brightest stars.
So to be here, I think it's one that we definitely don't take for granted. But we also know, that's just one stop along the way, and we're hoping to, make a run.
So listen to In Case You Missed It with Christina Williams, an iHeart Women's sports production in partnership with Deep Blue Sports and Entertainment on iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Right back.
Fan. Week 3 of Vikings football kicks off this Sunday as the Cincinnati Bengals come to town. Pregame starts at 10. You can catch every touchdown, every sack, every game-changing play right here on the audio home for the Minnesota Vikings, KFAN, and on the go on the free iHeartRadio app.
And the Friday football feast is at Buffalo Wild Wings Maplewood this week, if you would like to join. Meanwhile, 9 to noon is at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center, and we are into the second half of the presentation. Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell joins us weekly on this day, and that's about 30 minutes from now. It's called X's and O's. Meanwhile, the Scribe is in attendance at the House of Pain, and if you were to ride, either your knowledge, your background, or your discernment on a Tuesday with 3 practices set to come up and 2 press conferences from the head coach, let's just see where you go. Against the Bengals, returning off the concussion, yes, no, or maybe Andrew Van Ginkel.
The fact that he didn't get any work last week, I mean, he had not made it through the first stage of that concussion protocol as we saw it at the end of last week. And the fact that a neck injury was before that makes me wonder a little bit too. I think that one's probably a little less likely than Jeff Okudah, just because we did see Okudah out there on Friday coming out of the no contact. So I'd say I mean, we'll see how the week goes. It's always hard to know with concussions, but I'd say that's one. That one is probably a little less likely than some of the others that we may discuss here in a minute.
Center Ryan Kelly.
That one is also tough for different reasons because it's the fourth concussion he's had in his career.
Oh,
so had 3 in Indianapolis, and then now you have this one. I would bet that's a no because I just think trying to bring him back after a week when you have to ask larger questions about the history of concussions with him.
Let's take a look at the old defensive tackles for the Bengals. B.J. Hill, 8th year North Carolina State. The former Packer, T.J. Slayton.
Oh, great.
Kenny Clark's back up, 5th year from Florida. Logan Wilson, the middle linebacker, 6th year from Wyoming. Mike Pennell, 11th year, Colorado State Pueblo, former Packer. And Chris Jenkins Jr., who was a stud at Michigan, 2nd year from Michigan. So that's okay. So anything else on Kelly?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think reading that list is probably... I would bet that's the list Michael Juergens is facing on Sunday. I would say that.
Hitman.
This one, I think he's getting closer. I mean, the fact that he had a better week of practice last week. The question with him has been, am I in shape enough? It's not at this point anything of, are they worried about any risk to him? It's, am I in shape enough to go out and help? I think has been how he's thinking about this quite a bit. And I think with another week, I would think yes on that, but that has been the reason over the last couple of weeks that he hasn't gone because he feels like I need a little more time to make sure that I'm in shape to play the game, be out there to the point where I'm able to help the defense. But yeah, I would think that one is probably more likely than not.
And lastly, on the Pain version of the House of Pain, that's the spot whence the radio show originates today. Christian Darrisaw, and I want to frame it up like this. Any idea why Darrisaw sometimes practices in full, then doesn't play?
I think you're talking about last week, I assume?
Yeah, the week before. I thought O'Connell had a Wednesday press conference into Monday, and he's like, no, he's going to be full guy today.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was full and then limited and then maybe even didn't practice. It was like this regression over the course of the week.
Well, each week I think he's gone full. Or hasn't been a limited or DNP. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think that's by design. I mean, I think some of what they've been doing with him, and I know it sounds odd, but I'm going to put my track coach hat on for a minute here.
Okay.
I think because I know some of the way that they think about these things is a little bit similar to this, especially with a guy coming off of this. It's we're going to have a harder day, and then you get a little bit less work to recover from the hard day, so you can come back and hit it again a day later. I mean, at least that's how you structure things in the track world. And I think having talked to people around the building about this over the years, I think they do some of that with players too, where it's, hey, we had a harder day yesterday. Let's build in a little more of a recovery day to absorb some of that work. I think with him, that has been part of the approach. So, you sit there and look at the injury reports and say, okay, did he have a setback? Did he have something that led them to say, hey, we got to pull back on this? I think some of that overall approach, and I don't know all of the specifics with him exactly, but the overall approach they've taken with a lot of these players has been that kind of a thing where that is intentional. It's not reactionary. So I think some of that, I mean, the weird one last week with him was that they had him questionable for the Bears game, but they needed to do that to get him out there and work on the field, which he said was helpful to do. It's, that's a lot of work to try to manage that, to get him on the field to warm up a little bit at the Soldier Field. But I think a lot of the changes in the injury and changes in the practice status has been part of their plan. Now, does their plan have him back for week 3? I think we'll see on that. I wouldn't be stunned if they decided to wait another week on that, but I don't look at the practices necessarily as a sign that something happened.
Is it true you just compared Christian Darrisaw to Kanisa Bekele?
The overall, I suppose
Did I say the name right?
Yes, the overall approach of how you train athletes, there's some crossover there.
The thoughts on with Aaron Jones and his injury, what that looks like behind Carson Wentz. PA hit on it. The pass catching, what does that look like with Xavier Scott? I'm thinking about the pass protection in terms of what Xavier Scott can offer, and just really veteran presence, savvy nature of Aaron Jones with this hammy. I mean, we could do an entire freaking 3-hour show, it feels like, on this injury situation across the board. But specifically with Aaron Jones and the hammy being out of the mix and what Xavier Scott and Mason look like as a tandem.
Yeah, I think Jones being out, which I would expect will be the case. I don't think he'll play coming off of a hamstring injury, but him being out, I think, is a blow because he's been helpful in the passing game. He's been helpful as a pass protector. I think he's done a good job there. They've had Jordan Mason do some of those things. I think Jordan Mason's done a good job there, too. He's had some moments where the blitz pickups, he's come through and been able to meet a guy in the hole and meet him with force. So you'll get some of that work from him, but you also don't want one guy taking all of those reps because that is extra toll on your body. It's just extra contact. So Xavier Scott, I would not expect to see in as many of those situations, just because that's always the thing with young running backs that they will say is the toughest to learn because you're just not being asked to pass protect in that way in college.
Saw that with Ty Chandler.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, that has been a big part of the issue with Ty Chandler. So with Xavier Scott, he's a bigger guy. So, physically he's probably up to the task, but it's always the question of which pressure is coming, which guy am I responsible for? A lot of that recognition stuff that a young running back has to handle, I'm not sure they're going to want to put as much of that on his plate. So I would expect you see him a little more in rushing situations, and Jordan Mason may get some of that work in pass protection. I mean, C.J. Ham, when he comes back, helps with this too, but we're still a couple of weeks from that, speaking of another injury.
Jeez.
If now, Ben did NFL radio this morning. I assume it was the Solomon Wilcots bit?
It was.
With
Solomon Wilcots
Todd
and Brian.
Haley?
Yeah, it was Brian Hoyer this morning.
Brian Hoyer.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they're, and I've done a lot of those, and whether it's Bruce Murray, Rich Gannon, Jim Miller, Pat Kerwin, whatever.
Yeah.
Kerwin and Gannon don't generally ask strictly surface level questions.
Yeah.
But a lot of them do, specifically in the morning. So is that what it was? Like, what did they want? Was it all McCarthy all the time?
It was a lot of McCarthy.
Because if I hosted that show, there's one question I absolutely am asking a super well-respected beat writer for the Minnesota Vikings. So, like, what was it? What they want to talk about?
It was a lot of McCarthy. I mean, Brian Hoyer had some good stuff just on, how you think about coming back from this in terms of being a mobile quarterback, being a guy that likes to run, being a guy that has had some big moments, of course, with the touchdown in the Bears game, how you protect yourself and how you go about it going forward. If there's any discussion of, do you change any of that approach from coaches to J.J. McCarthy? So we got into some of those things.
Good.
And then a lot of it was, kind of timetable of injuries and how Carson Wentz fits and how you get him up to speed.
Well,
in the short time that they have.
Did they ask you this? Because I probably would make this my closer. Ben Goessling, Star Tribune, StarTribune.com, joining us on NFL Radio. Lastly, better wide receiver and why? Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase?
This one did not come up, but it is a very interesting question.
Correct.
I would say Justin Jefferson because the things that he gets asked to handle in terms of coverages, and I don't watch the Bengals all 22 very often, admittedly.
I never do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that comes out. We've seen the Bengals. This is the third time in 5 years we've seen the Bengals, which was kind of an odd scheduling quirk. But
we had the Christmas Eve bit. McPherson walks off. Oh, McPherson walking off on Zim, game one.
2021.
Bad call on the Dalvin fumble early in overtime.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the opener. And then, yes, the 2023 game a week before Christmas, I think it was, with the Brandon Powell tush push.
The double tush push.
Yeah. Yep. But
good game for Ty Chandler.
Yes, it was.
Oh, that was the T. Higgins catch it with one hand and Mekhi Blackman playing safety.
Yep.
Looking at him and knocking the ball away.
Did Caleb Evans have a bad? Was he part of that play too?
Yeah, I think part of all those.
I think that was the game.
Dynamic
game where Nick Mullins was laying on his back through a pick.
Yeah,
there was a lot.
I think Josh Palmer made an extra $4 million with Buffalo because of the ball bouncing between the 2 and the 1 into his arms against the Chargers a few years ago.
Yes, that season had a lot of those moments. Speaking of tough moments for Kevin O'Connell over the course of his time as the coach, but I would say Jefferson just because he has to adapt to coverages in a way that I don't think Jamar Chase gets covered the same way with T. Higgins on the other side.
Great.
They're both excellent. I would take Jefferson just because of that.
Lastly, former Viking Dalton Reisner. He's a starting right guard for the Bengals.
Yeah.
He's apoplectic right now because he allowed the sack that cost Joe Burrow his toe.
Yeah.
So Reisner can be emotional and outspoken about things like that, but from what I understand, he ain't feeling too good about that football performance moment.
No, I would imagine not. And he'll, I would think, have some emotions coming back here, a place where he played the last couple of years. But yeah, Joe Burrow, that injury is tough to see because that's a guy that when he's healthy, which is that's the operative phrase because that hasn't happened very often. Joe Burrow is fantastic, but he's been hurt a lot. And the Vikings catch a bit of a break not seeing him on Sunday, but certainly not something anybody wants to see happen for a guy that has been pretty fantastic when he's been healthy.
You, my friend, are elite. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
Ben Goessling, Standard Heating and Air. News due north around the corner. Then, 15 minutes from now, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, Kevin O'Connell, joins us for X's and O's on KFAN.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Would you guys consider anything less than a championship to be a failure from this year?
I wouldn't say anything is a failure, especially because we all grow every day. Obviously, the goal is a championship. There's no doubt in that, and that's the goal. We want to win a championship.
I'm Christina Williams, host of the podcast, In Case You Missed It with Christina Williams. The WNBA playoffs are here, and I've got the inside scoop on everything from key matchups and standout players to the behind-the-scenes moments you won't find anywhere else.
It's really, really hard to be the champions, but we have to remember how it feels and embrace the new challenge that we have.
For all the biggest stories in women's basketball, plus exclusive interviews with the game's brightest stars.
So to be here, I think it's one that we definitely don't take for granted. But we also know, that's just one stop along the way, and we're hoping to, make a run.
So listen to In Case You Missed It with Christina Williams, an iHeart Women's sports production in partnership with Deep Blue Sports and Entertainment on iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Did you miss us out at the State Fair? Well, don't worry. You can shop all of our 2025 fair designs at the KFAN Pro Shop right now and be on the lookout for some new variations as well. So your new KFAN swag today at KFAN.com/store. Things including It's JJ Season, including 9+8=6 hoodie, or maybe more importantly, the I Promised Myself I Wouldn't Believe shirt. KFAN.com/store.
Let's unfurl some news due Nord featuring Mad Producer, provided by Canterbury Park and CanterburyPark.com. We have racing at Canterbury Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. It would be the final 3 days of live racing for the 2025 season, and we begin at 4 o'clock each day. So come say hello as we say goodbye. Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, final 3 days of live racing this season at Canterbury Park. Get tickets and save. Fun and games like no place else. Horses sing. CanterburyPark.com. And hopefully we'll see y'all there.
And you know what's going on Thursday is the Pro Football Pick'em Challenge, PA. The ability on a weekly basis to win money simply by picking the correct games.
Wrong with that.
You do that on Thursdays at Canterbury from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And then at the end of the year, somebody's going to get free fuel for a year courtesy of Quick Trip. So there are myriad ways, almost countless ways, you could say, to benefit, have fun, and enjoy Canterbury Park down in Shakopee. A couple NFL games last night, PA. I want to start with the Bucs and Texans. How game is Baker? I mean, that's really just kind of the one way I just want to put it in that light. And Stroud did his thing last night. They made it dramatic. They came there. I think they took the lead 19-14, get the TD. Couldn't put it to the 2-point conversion. But Baker last night getting banged up, hitting the turf. Danielle Hunter I thought swallowed him up and spit him out a time or two. Daniil was fantastic last night. But when they weren't able to get Bucky going the way they wanted to on the ground, mixing in Rashad White, actually, I mean, they ran their tails off. It was nearly like 180 yards rushing. So the run game working, but stalling at times. Baker putting that thing on his back and finding his way to the end zone late. Just impressed with the Bucs, and maybe I shouldn't be because I think this is like the 5th straight year they've started 2-0. So the Bucs handle business, and they did last night.
And the Buccaneers beat the Falcons when Younghoe Koo could not tie the game from 44 and to force it to overtime. So now the Buccaneers, wow, this is big. The Buccaneers have gone on the road for their first 2 and won both.
Yeah.
I mean, that just as schedules stack up, you can have whatever opinion you want of the Falcons and or the Texans. And after seeing Atlanta this weekend, I happen to think Atlanta has a better chance to win the NFC South than I did into the season, where Nordo and I both thought the Buccaneers were best in show, and they'll still find a way to win that division. But that's a big win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Meanwhile, C.J. Stroud sacked 3 times, didn't throw any picks. And he had a sweet little 20-yard run when I was watching. But 13 of 24, 207. It's almost like when Bryce Young went first and C.J. Stroud went second, and Stroud had that, might have been Offensive Rookie of the Year season. It's almost like it didn't happen. I mean, he's just been so different statistically and all that since his rookie season. So go Bucs, go Noles.
Well, I will say this about Stroud. I think they have the same conversations about their offensive line that, frankly, we've been having up here in Minnesota. Go Gophers. You root for Ursery on the left side, but they've had health issues. Like, they were happy to get Ed Ingram back. I mean, that's kind of a shot at Ed. I get that. Didn't work out here. They were happy to get Ed Ingram back. So just kind of think about that in terms of their moving company. Ed, by the way, a great lead block down the field on a Nick Chubb catch and run last night.
Wow.
So Ed Ingram handling his business, I guess. But that offensive line is it's in trouble down in Houston. And it's truncated as we look for the coach next segment. Kevin O'Connell joining you in studio.
Well, help me with this, because I made a prediction on the radio yesterday that I liked Vegas on the money line. I watched the first quarter, and I didn't see the Brazil game against KC. So I didn't realize with some of these new components with the Chargers that they have more speed, defensively speaking. But holy cow, Geno Smith, what in the heck happened to you?
Well, I think living in the post-Bosa and, Eric Kendricks was there. Khalil Mack, you want to talk, not as fast as he used to be. These guys certainly not the components of that speed that you're talking about. Khalil Mack, whether it was an elbow or a forearm, he got jacked up last night. So that's something to watch if you're a Chargers fan. The Chargers defense is fast. Herbert puts up a ton of stats, still weird decisions and stuff. That operation just looks weird to me at times, the Chargers. But they are 2-0. They outmastered the Chiefs week 1 and then just brutalized Geno last night with those 3 picks.
And by the way, in closing and quickly, it's FIDA, Fairness in Twinigmatics Act. I mean, yeah, did they shut out the Yankees or just beat them?
They won 7-0 last night, I believe.
You know what? It's been a rough year. Yeah. They never beat the Yankees. That is Covenant claps worthy. Simeon Woods Richardson struck out 1 million. Covenant claps, boys. That's pretty good beating the New York Yankees. All right, Kevin O'Connell with X's and O's around the corner. You're listening to The Fan.
Every day has a to-do list. But adding Enjoy Belvita to yours can help you knock out the rest of it. Belvita breakfast biscuits are a tasty and convenient breakfast option when paired with low-fat yogurt and fruit that provides steady energy all morning. While Belvita Energy Snack Bites give you the perfect mid-morning refuel. Best part, they both taste great. So make the most out of your morning with a bite of Belvita. Pick up a pack of Belvita at your local store today.
The day begins at the Chase Sapphire Lounge by the club at Boston Logan Airport. You get the clam chowder. In San Diego, it's tostadas. New York, espresso martini. It's 10 a.m. Why not? It's the quiet before your next flight, the shower that resets your day, the menu that lets you know where you are. This is access to over 1,300 airport lounges and every Sapphire Lounge by the club. And one card that gets you in. Chase Sapphire Reserve, the most rewarding card.
Learn more at chase.com/Sapphire Reserve. Cards issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC, subject to credit approval.
Fox One is now live. It's the new way to stream all your Fox favorites all in one place. That means NFL Sundays and college football games, breaking news with the Fox voices you trust, and your favorite shows streamed as they happen so nothing gets spoiled. With Fox One, you get it all live. Edge-of-your-seat plays, jaw-dropping moments, and that feeling like you're right there in the action. Start your 7-day trial today. Offers are subject to change. Go to Fox One for complete terms and conditions. Fox One, we live for live. Streaming now.
Every business has an ambition. PayPal Open is the platform designed to help you grow into yours. With business loans so you can expand and access to hundreds of millions of PayPal customers worldwide. And your customers can pay all the ways they want with PayPal, Venmo, Pay Later, and all major cards, so you can focus on scaling up. When it's time to get growing, there's one platform for all business. PayPal Open. Grow today at paypalopen.com. Loans subject to approval in available locations.